Hi guys, wee Bob here, and I'm going to talk about old gaming versus modern gaming and my love for both, and where I am just now in the world. I've got my Flumps mug of tea, and I've got my fries cream because it was my birthday recently, and I got a bunch of these, which I love them. They are fries raspberry cream. Don't know whether you get them all over the world, but I like them. Anyway, so old gaming, new gaming, what's going on in life. Life is a wee bit difficult at the moment. I'm not going to go into it here because it's more personal matters than I wish to discuss on YouTube. Best way to put it would be health and family member. That's the easiest way for me to put it and leave it at that, and it's not me. So we'll get through that. But in the meantime, I was looking for a distraction. Thought I'd come on here, provide that distraction to myself and perhaps to others just by blabbing and waffling. Alan Mainmeister had stopped doing the Friday Waffle, which, where he's taking a break, he's not stopped doing it, he's taking a break from the Friday Waffle just to see how YouTube goes. I noticed he'd uploaded a Commodore video, so maybe he's trying to focus more on the video side of things rather than live streams and waffles, because I think that's helps him navigate his life. That's why I don't do live streams, that's why I do videos mainly, because I can find the 15 minutes I need to go and record a video, do a drawing, and then get back to life, whatever might be going on, because I might get pulled away to go somewhere. And that's where live streaming on a schedule or uploading on a tight schedule can be difficult. The art channel suffers from that because I do have a schedule. Anyway, modern gaming, old gaming. So recently I've been doing the arcade challenge, probably not recently, the past probably 6 months, 6 to 9 months. I've been doing this arcade high score challenge for Memmeister, and each week, each Tuesday, there's a new game comes out, and it's nice to get up away from the desk and go stand in front of the meme cab and get a game going for 5 minutes, blasting with my 80s music in the backdrop, which is kind of normal, and just getting that kind of vibe going, that gaming enjoyment. When I get my own room, in terms of my children move in, we've got some spare space. There's definitely going to be an 80s arcade retro room in my house with a MAME cab at least, and maybe an original cab. I'm not really too bothered about the original cab because I'm quite happy with MAME, to be honest. So it's great. You just go up in Robotron 2084, go down and just blast aliens. It's you against the machine. I think there's a line in Ready Player One where the guy's just like, it's just me. How far can I get? Where can I get to? There's no deep and meaningful story. And that's what gets us on to modern gaming. So why arcade games were there to make money back in the day? It's talked about quite a lot. They're coin munchers. Excuse me while I get a drink. Yeah, so coin munchers were there. We were playing Rampage recently on one of the high scores, and you could tell because your health kind of constantly goes down, and you've got to deal with the fact that you can't really regenerate your health that easily. So it becomes one way you've got to put more coins in to actually progress in the game. But it was a good challenge. I think most people enjoyed it. We're doing one called iRobot this week. One thing that Colin Jones or Ponder Retro Goodness or Games pulled out of his hat. I've never seen it before for the year. It's quite impressive. It reminds me of the Lawnmower Man type graphics. Really 3D polygon. But yeah, that's the great thing about arcade games is you just put them up, whether it be a Spectrum game or a Commodore game. They don't really have a great deal of depth to them. You're just there to make the highest score or blast aliens or perhaps find your way through a house. But they can be of a maximum of a couple hours if you were to really sit down and maybe play like Monty on the Run or something like that. I've never completed Monty on the Run, so I don't actually know how long it takes. Don't quote me on that one. It might take days and days. But games weren't designed to be saved back then. They weren't designed really to be longevity. They were meant to be replayed, and the playability was the big thing. Whereas modern games, like I was saying, I don't know what I was saying here, but I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Really, that's kind of the only modern games I've been playing. So what is it about those games I like, and did I enjoy the story? Was it the world? Was it the open world aspect? What is it about those games that I love? And I do love those games ever since Grand Theft Auto, and I've talked about this numerous times, so please bear with me. But the thing I've always loved about the Red Dead Redemption and the Grand Theft Auto games is more, it's not to do with the playing it for hours and hours, and it's not really to do with the story, but I have to say the story in both of them I enjoyed playing through, and I did play through them both more or less fully, apart from maybe all the side quests. But if you take the fact that you may be in the middle of a mission, so you finish your mission, you've just went and beaten a drug lord, or you've rode to the local town and did the bounty hunting on a suspect that was out in the middle of the woods, as per Red Dead Redemption. At that point, you can take a break. At that point, and I'm going to insert some kind of nice footage here. But at that point, you can take yourself to a beautiful part of the world and just be. And you might be stuck in your house, but these games transport you to another world. I was playing Astrobot last night, and I couldn't believe it. I was just Astrobot's not the game I really wanted to play. I wanted to play something else that was a wee bit more uh, etherical. Is that the right word? I don't know. I wanted a forest. I wanted streams. I wanted waterfalls, and that's where I see VR going for me. Definitely is a place, a wee haven inside the house. Perhaps if it's a rainy day outside, you could go and sit on a wee beach with higher resolution. But I couldn't believe Astrobot last night when I was playing it. It was just surreal to be able to look at textures and look at them up close. So that's why I love PlayStation VR, and I'm really looking forward to perhaps upgrading to something a bit more um, high end, but that's further down the road. I don't have time at the moment for that. But whether it be the PlayStation VR 2, should it ever be released, or moving on to one of the Oculuses or something similar, I'm really looking forward to those types of experiences where you can just take yourself, perhaps in an open world setting, but you can take yourself and you can set the weather effects to be whatever you want it to be, whether it be you sit in a windowsill with the rain battering off the window. And I can quite imagine that at some point in the future you'll be able to see and do all that from virtual reality. And yes, it's nice to go outside. It's nice to go outside and you know I like getting down the beach if you watch my channel. But it's you're not going to get the smells and the sea air and the salts. But at the same time, because you might have experienced that before, there is a certain aspect. My wife turned round to me the other day and said, "Do you know that when you look at somebody and you think about, so like if you take my dog for an example, if you looked at my dog and you imagine patting the dog, to a certain extent you can imagine that experience, you can actually feel that experience, and you know what it feels like to pat a dog. So when you're in VR, you have the ability to kind of conjure up some of the aspects that might not actually exist. And that's why I like VR. That's why I like Red Dead Redemption. That's why I like GTA 5. I like them because of the fact that you can pretty much do anything that you want. There's no consequences, but at the same time, you can just pause, drive up to the top of a mountain, and watch the sunset. And yes, it's in a 2D screen. Yes, it's not there in front of you. But if you've ever played a horror game, you'll know that horror games, you get scared. There is something connecting you to that 2D screen. You're having a experience where you're connected. Playing Alien Isolation, I really struggle because I'm like, I don't want to look around this corner. I'm not even looking around a corner. I'm sitting in a nice cozy room with no real issues happening, and I'm going to bite another bit of this. I will cut this bit. So yeah, you have these connections to these modern games and to the older games. I mean, when I'm in Robotron and I've got the two sticks and I'm firing all which way, I can feel the excitement inside me, especially if I've got my 80s music just blasting in the background. It's an experience. It's why I love gaming. It's why there was a question I seen before I started this. It said, would you rather not game for the rest of your life and get $500,000 as it was, or not get $500,000 and still game? And I would probably have to go with the still game I would still want a game for the rest of my life, especially if you were to become immobile for some reason. You can have $500,000, but if you are, for health reasons, stuck inside the house, you can only look outside the window. $500,000 isn't really going to do you much good. Whereas if you've got a VR, if you've got a ability to escape, get some escapism, escape to an alien world, see things that you've never seen before. I mean, being in VR, and I know I keep going on about VR, but it really does blow my mind. I was in playing the Star Wars pinball last night, and I had the Mandalorian standing next to me, and I had Baby Yoda on the left, and I was like, this is just cool, because in force fields, I mean, I think that's one of the things that we talk about, these moments in time when our minds is blown. And I remember seeing VR, and I remember my mind being blown by VR, but I really remember, I think it was the Astrobot demo that came, and the wee guy puts a force field up in front of him, and I thought, that's the first time I've ever seen a force field in 3D. You can see force fields in the movies, you see them, but when you're in VR, it's an actual, I'm going to say physical thing, even though it's not, but this wee guy has got a force field in front of him. It's crazy. So when you've got an X-wing flying in front of your face, or it's just an unbelievable experience. If you've never tried VR, I honestly would recommend it. No end. Beat Saber's a big hit in my house. But yeah, so my love for video games, it spawned from really being, from the earliest memory I've got, and I've talked about this, being somewhere in my living room as a young kid with the Spectrum ZX, Sinclair ZX Spectrum, with Haunted Hedges playing, to my memory of my papa sitting with him. And I remember the train game of 1, 2, 3, playing the train game, choose which one's going to win, to going to school and meeting up with your pals and talking about the latest games, or waiting for the magazine to come out with the cassette and the demos, and you'd get the demo on and you'd really just want to get out and get the full game. I think Batman was one of those games for me, the one based on the movie when you can throw the grapple and hook and go around the corners, was a big game for me at the time. To going to your pal's house, to having 2 apple turnovers and a bottle of cola every Friday night, because that was what you did. You're a 17-year-old boy and you go in your mates, get the newest Nintendo 64 or PlayStation, and you play Formula 1, to Grand Theft Auto, being open world, your cars that you used to play with in the little rug that had all the roads on it, suddenly you can actually get in those cars and move them around and rob banks and do stunt jumps. And yeah, it's just a love for gaming. I think gaming is just a transportative experience that can also be very rewarding. It has its downsides, as we all know. We can sit in our bums for too long playing games. We can get away from the exercise and get away from the outside world. And like everything in life, if you say, should you eat cabbage constantly because it's a good food to eat, or lettuce or a salad, but if you only eat salad, you end up not well, because you've not got any protein. If you only eat this and you don't eat that, you'll end up with something wrong with you. And it's always a balance. So there's a balance between gaming and getting out and experiencing the world. And there's a place for both. And I think you should have both in your life. I don't think you should have one or the other. I think you should have whatever that entertainment thing is, whether it be movies or gaming in my case that I'm talking about. So I hope you've enjoyed this. It's 15 minutes of me waffling nonsense, but I thought I would put it in, get some nice cam footage, maybe from Red Dead Redemption, trotting about on my horse. Probably mainly Red Dead Redemption, to be honest, because getting into GTA means I'm probably going to have to reinstall it, which I've got it uninstalled at the moment. So anyway, guys, I've missed being on Wee Bob's channel. I hope yous are all well. Before I go, I would like you guys to tell me, maybe Kev down the rabbit hole, or whoever wants to, in the comments, whatever. Just let me know what modern gaming, old gaming, your love for gaming, where does it come from? And does it sit in both worlds? Is it restricted to that? Is it board games? Is it cards? Playing cards? Is it sitting in a pub? What is it that brings you your joy? So, respond to this. Let me know in the comments. Up to you guys. Or don't just watch, and if you want, like, subscribe, all that nonsense. And for the moment, we was out. Cheers, guys, and bye.